Welcome to the Grand Design Series for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. We're picking up on the 8th of March 1978, which is about 9 months on from the end of the last part, which is a lot further on than I originally intended, simply because my objective in the last part was to populate our town in the north there. And I played on a couple of months to get into position to be able to make that video. Unfortunately, things didn't go according to plan because I had a bit of a logistics problem, which took quite a long time to sort out, and I had to run the game to try and work out what was going on. Now, at the end of the previous video, I did mention that we are going to be taking a fairly deep dive into logistics, and I'm going to apologize in advance that this may get a little bit deep. We may be talking about a few numbers, but I'll try and keep it as practical as possible, because I think there's a problem that can develop if you, especially if you're a bit of a min-max player, where you try and create the ideal logistics system. But to be honest, this game doesn't lend itself to that. And as I say, I'll be talking more about that as we go along. But the other problem I got is I developed a problem with waste. And it became quite a major problem. And just to show you what I'm talking about is I've got a waste dump here. And you can see it's full. And everything's going to back up. I'll talk a bit more depth in that, because that is a key part of logistics. Now, to give you the background for that, is that my record population for this game is an off-camera game I played several years ago. And I got between 75 and 80,000 population. But there's a but, and it's a very big but, in the sense that I did that before maintenance and waste management was part of the game. And and in the background for this series, I've been following the same pattern as I did for that series. But of course, what's actually happened is I underestimated the sheer amount of waste that's being produced, and it's given me a little bit of a problem. But I will talk about that in a little while, and that's also the reason why the game's on pause. But the first thing I want to talk about, if you watched the previous video, you'll be aware at the end of it, I was looking at this construction office and trying to work out why it was getting no delivery of steel. And as I pointed out in the video, that came down to the fact that I did not notice that the bricks were overloaded by a long way. And what that was doing is effectively taking away the space for the steel. And that's the reason why the distribution office was not delivering the steel, because unlike me, he was making an assumption, the distribution office quite rightly just turned around and said, well, I don't have the space to deliver steel. And this is something that is very important when you're working with distribution offices. They can drive you absolutely insane. And I have had numerous comments over the time saying, oh, I've set this up and my distribution office won't deliver goods. And this sits at the core of logistics. And we will be talking a little bit more about that to begin with as we go forward. But the first thing I want to do here is we are going to put in, because I want this, I should have done this a long time ago actually. And the reason I didn't do it, because I thought this was only a temporary construction office, but it's actually started to take on a life of its own. Okay, we can't do that. It doesn't have a landing point. That's okay. We can get the road crew from over here. In fact, he'll probably pick it up anyway automatically. But we'll give them a little bit of a nudge. So you can work on that, you can work on that. In fact, what I'll do is get the whole Stilton work through on that. And what we'll do is build in this, and then we'll deliver the steel and prefabs and everything to this, which is going to have a lot more space in it, and that should making sure that the supply is a lot more reliable. Now, before we get into some of the technical sides of logistics, I just want to show the problem that I've just alluded to. And that is the fact that I've got, this is absolutely full of waste. And what happened is it wasn't just this one that filled up, it was this one, mixed waste, and this one. You can see this one is this one, see this one, and also more crucially up here my nuclear power plant up here as well. So all these filled up with mixed waste, and the reason for that is that the down here was over capacity. You can see already this is still full with what's been dropped off, because one of the problems when you get a backup in the waste system is that you get, if I put on the overlay, let me turn this on. Now this area is not too bad because it's got direct delivery, but if we go out to somewhere like Stilton, or probably more importantly in the industrial areas, what you'll see now is that these are filling up. The reason they're filling up is the fact that this is full. And that's also another good example over here, even in a local sense. And this is how your logistics systems can start to back up. You can, this one, well, it was completely full. And it was also full up with plastic waste, which I forgot to actually set up the supply route to take the plastic up to be reprocessed. This is one of the fallacies in this, if you play this game, with if you believe in just-in-time delivery. It doesn't work. And as we go through, I'll give you some more examples of that, because there's so many ways that vehicles can get delayed and things can go wrong, like a vehicle break down or get stuck. And also what can happen is one of your distribution offices can get overloaded. Here's another example here, is the fact that this is now fill up with vehicles that I've been quite happily manufacturing, mainly ambulances. But wasn't paying attention. I'll be really glad when the new update comes in, because, and what I've done is I've set this up as another kind of storage area. And also another thing I just want to briefly mention is what I've done is I actually had an incident up here where a vehicle was already getting too old and I needed to scrap it. And I tried to scrap it and the game said, oh, no. So what I've done is I've created, and this is something that you do need to do if you want to do manual scrapping and auto replacement, is that you've got to have a road connection to your scrapyard. And what I did is I built this mud road here, and probably still on this route somewhere is a truck that's trying to get all the way down to the scrapyard down over here. And again, this comes down to when you're planning logistics, ideally, and eventually I will do it as the economy grows out, is that I'm going to put a scrapping area here. And in fact, just to give you kind of an update now, what my original plan was in this part was to work on this town here and set up a logistics center here with possibly a scrapyard and a distribution hub here. But that has gone slightly adrift. Now, what I want to do is talk about how I actually solved the problem with the way, because what I actually did is I created two manual trains. One is here, and what we're going to do is you can see he's already cleared one dump, and what we're going to do is tell him to go up to here into this dump. You're going to pick up all the mixed waste and you are going to take it to the border. Now this is a perfectly legitimate way of solving the problem, and in fact it could be a possible long-term solution. And this is something that I can't do here, simply because I've only got the one customs shed and it will get overloaded. And in fact it did get overloaded when I was clearing the initial loads, and that disturbed my other exports. And the second reason why I don't like using the customs shed is the fact that you're losing good recyclable goods, which can then be used to put back into your economy as long as you've got a recycling center. And that's something that we will be working on in the second part of the video. So what I'm going to do is let the game run slowly now. Oh yeah, this one also is filling up as well. So we've got to try and get this one out, although the fact I've got trucks up here picking up lots and lots of waste, what we're getting is, to see, we're getting a lot of hazardous waste coming in now. So this hazardous processing is going to start to get overloaded. Most of that hazardous waste is coming from my nuclear facilities. Just to kind of encapsulate all that, is that it's great to have an economy that's growing very quickly and producing lots and lots of goods, but be aware that it also produces lots and lots of waste, and you've got to do something about it. Otherwise it will back up and then cause a bit of a problem. Now another problem that can develop is the fact that your distribution offices can get overloaded. And a good example of that, well, there's two examples here. First, we'll do the coal one first. Now, what I got at the moment is this set up to pick up coal from here and take it all the way over to Stilton. And what happened was, is I tried to push a little bit too hard. And this is something that you do need, because what you want to do is run full trains that have a full load on them. And when you're moving aggregates, you do need to have that capacity. So if I can find a train here, we should be moving coal. Oh wow, I'm sending 130 tons to the border. Oh, I know what what happened was, is I was messing around with the settings, and when I put this in to change the settings to send the mixed waste to the customs shed from this area, and I clicked on that, and the game immediately said, oh yeah, I've got to deliver coal. And that's another problem that you can have. But there should be, you can see here, we got 153 tons of waste going to the border at the moment. But this is the one I'm looking for. This one is a train, and you can see we find the train. This is the ideal of what you're looking for. This is a coal train. It's carrying 392 tons of coal. It's got the maximum length for the train. So if we just let this run and follow it, and this is the ideal setup. Now if I kind of go to where it's going, you'll see that this can hold 1,000 tons. Now if we go back to, and this is where the logistics comes in, and this is where sometimes you've got to go for overcapacity. Now if I find the actual here, you'll see that the store is 1,000 tons, which is over here, but I've set this to keep it at 50%. Now one of the quirks of the way the distribution system works is that when this store here drops below 50%, which of course it is because it's 500, the train will try and take the maximum load that it can do, which is, at the moment it's carrying, I can't remember what it was now, was it several hundred tons, but it's no need to be precise. And this is where, when you're planning the logistics, is say for example you set this to 80%, what will happen is that you end up sending lots and lots of small trains with 60 or 70 tons on it. So when you're planning these kind of, especially with aggregates and heavy goods, is that you want to get it so that you get the maximum supply of the material, whatever you're shipping. In this case it's coal, with a full length train. When you're using trucks or doing short distances, that you can kind of push to a higher level. But when you're moving long distances like here, because you remember that this is picking up from over here, this side of the map, and it's going all the way down to the steel mill and Stilton. So you want to take really big loads. Now that becomes very important when you're actually bringing in food here. Now if I can find a food train, you see this one is right over here. This is just picked up 68 tons from this food market here. And I know where it's going, because this distribution office is completely dedicated to supplying food to this store here. And you can see that this store is set to 213 tons. Now, if we come to the setting for that, if we come to, well, keeping track of everything here is going, where is it? Here it is, here, Navarra. You can see this is actually set to 70%. Now, in here, the actual food is 213. Now, 70% of 213 is what? It's about 150 tons, 140, 150 tons. And this is where just-in-time delivery doesn't work for this game. So say, for example, you calculated how much food this area needs. It's probably kind of 10, 20 or more tons per day now, given the size of this city is... where is it? Where's my town hall? We've got an actual population here of 11,000, although that's probably, I don't know, it could be the whole area. So we've got a population of 11,000. So these need a lot of food because we've got 3 stores. Now, what we're talking about at the moment is the primary delivery route, which is basically getting the food from the major production source to the drop-off point using a train. Now, I've set this at 70%. That, as I say, that means that, well, on a delivery load of 213, that means that when this drops below 70%, the train will go out with the maximum capacity, which would be up to 100 tons based on the calculations of the wagons. And the train that's coming in at the moment's got 68 tons. Now, it's got a long way to come. And this is something that you do need to bear in mind, that that train needs to come all the way from the right down the bottom here, all the way up to the center of the map. Now that train has got a theoretical top speed of 160 kilometers, but it's going to come through a lot of traffic and it's going to do a lot of stopping and pausing. It's going to take a lot longer to come out here. And this is where, if you try just-in-time logistics, this is where the game can get it. Because bear in mind that when that train, when the game decided that this warehouse needed more food, the train had to leave from here, go all the way across the map, pick up the load and come back. And this is and that means that distance means that this warehouse is still supplying food to the stores. So you need to get enough to come back, in this case 68 tons. So by the time the train gets here, this will probably be down. So what that 68 tons will do is probably take this back up to 150 tons, which will refill more than the 70%. And this is the reason why you plan for overcapacity, and that's so that when there's a need for a resupply, in fact there's a chance that the game, because you've got to remember, is the game knows that and this is something that you do need to be aware of, that the game knows that at the moment this warehouse is technically fulfilling the requirements of the distribution office, simply because what it means is, because it's got 68 tons coming, and if you probably come in here and we look at all the other trains as well, you can see here we've got trains sat here doing nothing. Got a meat supply coming in here of 9.4 tons. We got this is the 68 ton train. This one, oh, I need to get rid of you. You're too slow. Ideally, I'd like to send you to here. What I've been trying to do is upgrade my trains. Oh, great. Where are you? I think that's because actually what we can do is first stop unreachable from vehicle from this current position. Where are you? Okay. Why can't you? Try again. It should be reachable. No. Okay. I don't like doing this, but I need to get rid of you. So this is going to cost a fortune. 1.8 million. That train is just too slow now for what I need. So I was hoping to scrap it. I think probably down here is because I'm currently in the process of scrapping trains. I think there's trains still coming here. Okay, anyway, we've got rid of that. So that is so what we just dealt with is the primary supply, which is to this area here. So when you're planning the logistics system, you need overcapacity in here. And you see we've got 95 tons of food. But once we got here, we got to then look at the local distribution. And this is where you can start getting a little bit more aggressive with your drop-offs. So for example, this warehouse here, you can see it's set to 80%. Again, you don't want to go to 90%, but at the same time, and what your drop-off now is related to the capacity of your trucks. So if I can find so for example here, the capacity of this covered hole is 13 tons, and we got another one in 7.2 tons, and we've got a meat truck here as well. So if you look at this warehouse and take off 7 tons, so what you're looking at here is, because I want this warehouse to be kept permanently full, because this is a big city that's got lots of bits and pieces in here. And you've got a little bit of spare capacity here. Remember that if a truck delivers here and this fills up, the truck will push the extra food into this area here. So what we got here is 59 tons. Because what you want is when this vehicle delivers the food to here, you want it to take a full load. So this covered hole here can carry 8.5 tons. And now if you take 8.5 off of here, you can say that's what's it? That's 5. What's 5? It's so what that means is that you've got a bit of 20% spare capacity here, right? So when that drops below to the required level, that a truck will leave from here. Actually, just make sure you're delivering to the right warehouse. No, okay. Actually, let me just see. Where are you guys going? You might be the better example. Okay, yeah. Right, you're picking clothes up. And you are going to deliver to here. Right, you're delivering to here. Clothes. And the clothes is coming in here. We've got overcapacity. Well, why are you delivering clothes then? Let's see what. You're delivering 2.9. I think you are possibly running too hot for this. Actually, I'm going to reduce you to 70%. I think you're running a little bit too hot for the game, because I think what's happening is these guys are pushing through into here, which is then overloading this. Yeah. So you can see here, these guys are delivering ridiculous amounts of, in fact, I think what's happening here is, what's confusing these guys is I'm delivering meat here, and they're trying to supply to that, which is keeping this full, which means that I'm just going to make a change here. I think this is not working. So we're going to turn that off. Now, the problem I've got to do now is, otherwise we're going to have a bit of a problem, is I've now got to change this so the meat is delivered directly to here. Three tons. We'll set you to 70%. Yeah, what's happening there is that this is not being used. What's happening is that these trucks are constantly trying to deliver to here. And this is where the game can actually give you a bit of a problem. By reversing this, what will happen is that the game will now start to draw on these here rather than actually going here. and these guys are pushing in. Yeah, it's going to take a little while to settle down, but what will happen is these guys will come into here. Where are you going? Right, he's now delivering to the 5-story. Now, the 5-story down here is an example of a one without a delivery, but we can't deliver to here whether we like it or not, simply because this doesn't have any external factory connections. That's okay, these guys will deliver a bit more directly, but what that will mean is that we can now consume some of this food here, which means that we will draw less food from here. And you can see here, see, we're down to 84 tons. And that's because the train that's coming here, we can find him, all related vehicles. So if we can find him, here's the 68 guy. You can see he's still coming. This is what I want to explain, and this is the reason why just in time and the perfect scenario doesn't work in this game. There's too many variables. As I say, I've seen, I won't mention the YouTubers, but I've seen YouTubers working out exactly how much they need to deliver somewhere based on, you know, stats. You can see this guy's going to come in here. He's going to deliver this here. And you can see he's now delivering up to his theory. And then if we, and what he should do now is, I don't know if he's actually, oops, we've got a train waiting too long. Okay, we just come here. I'm not sure if he's going to go back and get some more. No, he's going to go back to, and again, this is the dilemma where you position your distribution offices. Now, the ideal is to have the distribution office close to the source, but you've still got to remember that when the train delivers to somewhere, it's still got to go take stuff back. I'm just going to see if we got anything here. Now we got, a lot of these trains are doing nothing, which is good. I don't see, there we are. That you can see here what's happened now, and this is where the way it should be working, is that the distribution office has already dispatched another train to get 68 tons of crops from here. I know, I'm aware that you can't see it, or not crops, 64 tons actually, 64 tons of food, while the other one that's just delivered is returning to the distribution office. So this one's already been dispatched. Now, the reason it's 64 tons, and again, this is something that you do need to take into consideration. If I click on these, and you can see here, it's each one of these wagons carries 34 tons. So 68. So if you go from 68 to the next level up to have a 3-wagon train, you've got to go to 98 plus 4, 102 tons. But the risk is that if you, while it sounds like, oh yeah, I have 3 wagons, the problem is that if you've got a store here and this store, so that this store waits to get 102 tons, and that distance is a long way away, what that means is that the food in here can be exhausted before you actually, the train returns. So sometimes big is not always necessarily great. Let's just see down here. And of course, what we've got here is the fact that we're trying to empty this. You can, now this is another example of when logistics goes wrong. Now the problem is that if we come in here, you see that a lot of our stores here are still full. So what's happening here is that we've got our train here. This is the one working from the distribution office. This is the one that's freelancing. And you can see here that the 2 trains working together. And this is a problem when you get a backup with waste and other things as well. But waste is primarily a major component, is that, especially from a big industrial area like this, is the fact that the waste is coming in faster than you can actually ship it out. And ideally what I should have done is had 2 connections here, but So this train's waiting. On the positive side, though, they will gain eventually, because what will happen is this train is now, I mean, it's just coming up. It's got another 60 tons to offload. So because we got 2 trains working on it, this will actually keep these guys emptying out the various stores. So we've got some metal scrap here and some construction waste as well. So, but what this will do is these guys will eventually get ahead, but it will take quite a lot. You can see how much money this is going to cost as well. So this one, so if we're just going to follow this for a little while briefly, what you should see is this train will, it's just coming up to 360 tons. You can see, so at the moment this store is going in real time, but this train will be able to get in, and he will pick up 240 tons out of here, which will keep this kind of empty. But eventually what should happen is that this should slowly gain against what's going on here. Yeah, train waiting too long. And of course, this is what I alluded to, is that we've got 2 waste trains here. And this is the problem I've got, and the problem I need to solve. That we've got 2 trains unloading, and this is that we got 3 trains here waiting with loads of cargo. And this is the problem. Now, if we had a map that wasn't like, that restricted us to a single drop-off point, we'd be okay. But the problem now is that we've got 2 trains selling off this waste here, and that's going to cause a backlog of trains here. And of course, that backlog of trains will eventually have an impact on our exports. So that is probably the kind of what I want to talk about with respect to logistics. I just want to check over here. Yeah, you can see this one's under control now. Now, what I need to do now is come up with a plan to fix that waste problem, because otherwise it's going to be persistent. Now, I am just going to drop a save very, very quickly. One top tip I will give you is that when you are playing at these higher population levels, don't play for too long and not save. And what I need to do, and this is something I've realized, is that I need a distribution office. And hopefully what I'd like to do is do here, I want to create I'm doing this manually because I don't want the stuff to go over here. I'm just going to do it this side as well, because I want to put 2 distribution offices in. But at the same time, I don't want to kind of push the dirt over the actual railway line. In fact, I think what we'll do is this is going to be a little bit tricky. Can I get a smooth out here? Because what I want to do is put in a train distribution office here. I need to possibly push it. Oh wow, that went in green. That's good. I'm just gonna, whoops. And I want another one on this side. This one's going to be a bit more tricky. I'm going to put you... Oh no, they've both gone green. That's good. My bit of leveling done. So what I want is one that will go into here. We're going to come back this way. This connection's being put in so that this distribution office can take the bauxite ore from here. Now this isn't the busiest of lines, so I think we can push our luck a little bit here. It's not like this is actually on a mainline track, and then we need to cross over to allow the trains in. Now this one doesn't need a connection that way. In fact, we move you a bit. Actually, I think if we can get you put you there. If I can get that road out, okay, we're gonna have to go that way. Didn't really want to do that, but and then what we're going to do is put you there. Okay, we'll put the crossover there. Just wondering, actually, it might be easier to bring the road across the track here. Run you. This is going to be a bit of a dog's dinner, but right, I need to check the fire coverage. Also repair coverage as well. So okay, I think you will have the necessary fire coverage there. I put you there. Let's do it again. Yeah, that's more than enough. Where's the, well, we've got the repair bay here. Yep, he will repair that. And then we've got the, that's the hospital. Where's the, I'm sure I've got a fire station out here. You're there with the, now that's one's, the Scarad has got helicopters. Yeah, I knew there's one a bit closer in. You're there. I think what I might do, I'm a little bit worried about the fact that we've got all this over here that's a bit exposed. Plus the fact if we get an earthquake, this could do a lot of damage. So what I'm going to do is ideally, because we got this here, it'd be nice if I could put a, this has still got heating and everything else, but that's the bottom of the slope. We could put you in here, but you would still wouldn't be, the road flow is from there. Actually, as we put you there on the back here, that should give us the, actually if we put you there and then run an asphalt footpath to there, kind of actually just put an asphalt footpath there. Full footpath doesn't make that much difference. 5. Get you in here. Get you doing that, running that. What that will do is enhance the coverage in this area. I know it's overlapping fire stations, but considering the amount that we're going to build here and the amount of coverage we need, that's something that goes. Right, so finally I've got to the point of where I want to start working on a little bit of forward planning. And apologies that we're going to keep the game on pause. Now, as I mentioned, I've got a waste problem, and what I've actually done is I've done a lot of flattening out here as far as I could get based on the position of the what we call it, the wherever you've gone. Here you are. Looks like we've actually built some more objects out here already. I think my game has got a little bit out of control, and this is, so we're going to plan this, and what I need to do now is done a kind of a sketch of what I need to do, but it's all purely theoretical, aware that I'm running out of time on this video. So what I'm going to do is utilize this town, which originally was meant to be a small town, to provide support for our oil production in this area. But what you are now going to become is waste central. Now the first thing we need to consider is that we're going to put some monster incinerators in. These produce 71 tons of pollution. I'm also thinking about a power plant which produces 48 tons of, so we're going to get a really massive kind of a area here where there's going to be a lot of pollution. So what we're going to have to do is we'll just measure out the distance, how far out, because we're going to need to plan this first so that we may have to put the town, because this has got to be at least 1.5 kilometers away. Yeah, this is nearly 2 kilometers. So that means our town is going to have to be in this area here. Kind of not exactly the ideal location. The original plan was for it to be there, but this is going to be a very dirty area. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is, the problem I've got is the fact that we're going to bring a lot of waste into here. We're going to do a lot of reprocessing and recycling. And the problem is that these dumps, they've got a capacity of 350, but it's not really enough. So I'm going to start with a mod. And what I've got is this extra large dump here with rails and claw machines. And this is a 1,250 tons. Now, I can't remember which way round I need this. Yeah, I think it's symmetrical, so we're going to be okay. And what I want to do is I think we want it that way round. I'm going to put you there. I want to bring it in a little bit because we're going to need to run trail track around the top of it. And what we're going to be doing is bringing the railway in from here. So we got this area here. Now the next thing we're going to need to do, and this is going to be a little bit of an experiment that I want to work with. That is, if we come to here, and I'm going to put this power plant in. Now we're going to need to put the power plant, I'm going to try and put it, actually no, this is the wrong way round. I had a feeling it was not right. We're going to have to put it that way round. Like that. Now this is very much an experiment. I've never ever used the incinerator power plant, but I want to give it a go. We're going to put the incinerator power plant there. Now the next thing we're going to need is 2 general separation thingies. I'm going to put you there. I want to put you about there, and I want to connect up there, and the back to the waste, and put you there. Push you a little bit apart. I'm going to drop you there. So what we're going to get is 2 separation plants coming into here. And then I think we can put in we need a large claw, I think. So if we come into here, it's going to be a problem. I would like this to be down a little bit. If I put you there, I want to create quite a large space here. I mean, the large claw will hold 350 tons of waste. I want quite a lot of distance to it. Actually, I feel that I want the road to come out that way. Now, the reason I'm putting quite a lot of space here is that we've got the separation. What we got here is the output. Now, this is the output for the if we go general separation, this is the output for construction waste and metallic waste. Now, the plastic waste and the aluminium waste isn't an excessive problem, simply down to the fact that this actual waste is often produced in relatively small quantities, especially if we're actually filtering. Right, so we got here. Now the next thing we're going to need to do, I come to mods, clear that, clear this. We're going to see if we can find a conveyors. What I want to do is put you there. You're going that way. That's the wrong way round. I need you to come across like that. The metallic waste, the construction waste is going to come out here, and we're going to reprocess that. Now, the next thing we're going to need to do is, because you can see down in the corner earlier on, just to show it to you, is that the hazardous waste plant, get rid of that, don't really need it now, is while it's coping will eventually start to suffer. Now what we are building here, train waiting too long, go here again. Yes, it's all down at the border. Yes, I know, game. Nothing I can do about it until I've got this built. So we're going to need it now. Technically, the actual power plant incinerator, I'll show you that, can burn hazardous waste. But to do that, we'll need to put the hazardous waste into here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put a waste treatment plant. I think what we'll do is we'll put a small what we call it in here. We got the rotor coming out there, so we're going to have to be a little bit careful. Actually, I've just had an idea. Right, so what we're going to do is we'll put a small, not a small dump, or a small we'll put you that way. See, I put you there. Can I hook you in? Yep, hook you there. And then what we will do is, this is an intervention store for the separation plant here. And then what we will do is put the waste processing plant here. Like that. Actually, yeah. Keep you relatively short. Because again, another problem we're going to have is getting the workforce in here. And then what we will do is put in a claw with railway. Put that way. Put you there. Maybe angle you a little bit because you've got to go that way. Come in relatively tight. So this is where we're going to deliver the hazardous waste. This is where the mixed waste is going to come into. You're going to come into here. And then what we're going to do is put the really kind of, we're going to put a large incinerator here, like that. And we'll put the, we're going to have to leave a space so that we can push you back up that way a bit. So what we're going to have now is, now we've got road connection there, so we need to make sure that we can get a road through there. Then off the back of here, now what I'm going to do is here is waste. I'm going to put a large claw here. What I'm hoping is that by doing this we'll improve the loading. This is going to need to take the, I'm going to get you in as close as possible, get rid of the U. And then what we'll be doing is building an infrastructure around this so that we can, how can you put it, we can dispose of the ash. Now ash is a problem. Again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, I come down here, you'll see that the moment we've got a, oops, going the wrong way. We've got this incinerator that's working fairly hard. In fact, it's out of waste at the moment. I think what I might be able to do is, if I can find one that's, are you shipping to the custom shed? Yeah. Okay, so what we can do is put you back onto here for the moment. Yeah, it's coming there. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to remove you from the custom shed, simply because that might take off the queues here. But back on what I was showing you here, as you can see that where this is working so hard, this is the output from a single large refiner. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 dumps here. They're all reasonably full, but if we sat here long enough, you'll see them slowly decomposing in little ticks like that. So up here, we're going to have an absolute mass of stuff that's going to need reprocessing. Now, the next thing we've got to do is we've got this out here. We've got road connections here. I'm going to put a road up here because we are going to need a road connection to there, mainly for a workforce. And then we're going to have to bring a road out to come to there. Have we got a footpath connection? I just want to check something. Yeah, we've got footpath connections. So the next thing we've got is we've got this coming out of here. And then over here, we've got to build, we need a small aggregate store. And we could put it in there actually, but that might be, no, that might kind of crowd things a little bit. I'm going to put a small aggregate store here, and actually we need 2 aggregate stores, to be honest. So if we put them opposing each other, facing each other, because what we need is an aggregate store, or just to show you, We need one for construction waste and one for metallic scrap. So what we're going to have to do is put one like that. We don't need the conveyor because we've got to put a splitter in. And we'll put another one just facing like that. And then over here, we are going to need a one to actually these are all should have all direct connections to buildings. So what that means is the construction waste and metallic waste coming out from here will come out to here, and then what we've got to do then is we've got gravel recycling, which needs to go. I'll probably put you. This is going to be a bit messy, isn't it? Okay, let's look at the metallic. Plastic is still. I think it's still recycling. Yep. This takes metallic scrap and then puts that there. So what we can do is put you about there, and then we can curve a road round back into there. And then where's your connections? And of course that means that we'll get steel into here. And that's the steel recycling. And then what we're going to need here is a open store with railway, and that can go there. Obviously you can see that we're going to great. Okay, managed to get it in. So we're gonna have to bring the rail line through here, and then we're gonna have to put in the back to the recycling. We've got to recycle the gravel. This will have to come. We'll put you that way round like that. Actually, if I could put you that way round, that might be better. This will come out here. And of course, what we're going to need here is an aggregate store. Again, we only need a small one. There's no point, because unlike the metallic scrap, the output is actual gravel. So we'll put you there. And then of course, what we're going to need here is I can never find the loading. Train loading. Now, technically, this. Well, it's way too big. As I say, technically, this doesn't need to be very big. So we can just push you out like that. Get the road out from there. Curve you round like that. And again, this is going to be more fire control than anything else, actually. I'm just going to leave that because I want to put the roads. We know that we can get the road system out. That means we can get the train tracks there. We've got the train tracks coming in here. And of course, we're also going to need train tracks, which we're going to come in here to supply the goods here. Now, the plastic, we could build a separate plastic reprocessing plant here, which we can supply using trucks. And of course, there's also there's a possibility that we may get aluminium come from the separation plant as well, because we can get aluminium waste. Now, to be honest, we're not going to get that much aluminium, so we can manage the aluminium output manually, and then we can just ship that out as part of. I think aluminium scrap is what we call it. Yeah, aluminium scrap is an aggregate, so we could, if necessary, this one over here has got multiple connections, so if we start to get a lot of aluminium, we can always put another small aggregate store here and ship it out. But to be honest, I'm not expecting vast quantities of aluminium until we start putting vehicle construction together. But anyway, so it's not really that important at the moment. Right, I'm aware that I've gone over time on this video, so this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. What I will do off camera is put the rail tracks in, because obviously we need to start considering the option for building the rail lines in here. But I'll do that off camera, so this is where I'm going to leave it. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Hope you found it interesting. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.